In this episode of the Waboripedia, the figure behind the ink interview series, where we sit down with respected Horishi or traditional Japanese tattooers from all around the world, we will be interviewing Tutti Serra. Tutti Serra is a Guildford, UK-based Horishi whose powerful compositions are tailor-made to the wearer's body. Join me as we sit down with Tutti Serra and learn more about the figure behind the ink. Tutti Serra, thank you so much for joining, man.
Hey, man. Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate your opportunity, man. Thank you so much. You're doing an amazing job, so I feel proud. Thank you.
Awesome. You're joining us from Guildford in the UK, right?
Yeah, it's a small town close to London, like an hour from London. So yeah, it's quite chilled. I love it here. It's really nice.
Oh, that's cool. So people can, if they're visiting the UK, if they're visiting London, they just need to hop on a train or something 1 hour away and they're at your shop.
Yeah. Like sometimes like 30 minutes, 40 minutes from central London, you're here.
That's
pretty
awesome.
Straightforward. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, maybe whenever I'm in London, maybe I'll drop by and say hello.
That'd be awesome. Even
Awesome.
if you don't have the time, we can have a coffee in London. It would be great too.
That's awesome. All right, Matt, let's just get right to it.
Right.
And just to start, why don't you walk us through what's your background and how did you get involved with tattooing, and then how did you transition into Horimono?
Sure. So my name is Tutti Serra. Usually people say Tutti Serra or something like that, but I'm from Brazil. I've been living in London, I've been living in England actually for 18 years and been tattooing for pretty much the same time. And yeah, but I did a few tattoos back home, but literally a handful of them. And then I decided to come back to London in 2006. I lived here before in 2000, but just for 1 year. And then, 2006, I came back. And my first memories of Japanese culture, it comes from my parents for sure. Because when I was growing up, they were part of Japanese philosophy of life called Seicho no Ie. It's quite big in Brazil, not so big in actual Japan, but in Brazil it became very popular. Yeah, and it's not called a religion or anything like that. It's just a type of philosophy of life. And they were very involved into it. They were lecturing and very involved in the organization and stuff. And so I was always at their academies and stuff. So I was surrounded by Japanese art from very early days, So I think that stayed in my brain quite solid somehow. But when I started tattooing, I started in my bedroom in London. So I started in my bedroom in Brazil, did a few tattoos, then decided to move back to London to actually do that. And then worked a couple different jobs. And then 6 months, I heard of this guy that had a studio in central London called Caesar. And this studio was self-sacrifice. And then, I walked in with my very ugly drawing portfolio with some new school stuff and some very distorted kind of drawings, very ugly to be honest. And then in this place, so Caesar gave me this opportunity to become his apprentice. At the time, his apprentice and the manager, that was the guy's girlfriend, they decided to move back to Brazil. They were both Brazilian. So then I lost my job, and then Caesar, a few days later, was this guy's leaving. So if you want to be the apprentice, that was my dream. They knew it, And I was for sure. So I took it. And I start working there with Rodrigo Soto too, and João Bosco. So I learned so much of tattooing from Caesar. His technique and his knowledge of machines are amazing. and a great teacher. Like he taught me really well. And Rodrigo and João, like they're amazing artists and like great teachers too. So they taught me so much. So I pretty much started over there. And then they were tattooing for a few years before me.
Yeah.
And although we all starting together in a way in London because no one knew about us. So they were tattooing for a few years only, starting their careers in London. So because they were doing all a little bit of Japanese, so I was the apprentice, so I started doing something a little more traditional. I chose to go towards that way because they were already doing Japanese.
Yeah.
And no one had client at the time, so we started pretty much from zero. And that's it, like start tattooing. And then after I did like maybe 6 years of my career, I did of traditional. So I got really busy with that, like was full on like working with that. I loved it, really enjoyed. But what always attracted me the most was Japanese. So then like I told myself like I'm going to Japan, and as soon as I come back, that's all I'm going to study is traditional Japanese. That's what I love the most. So I did it, like went to Japan with a few friends, so much fun. Got my back piece studied by Rico from Daruma Goya. And then as soon as I came back, that's all I drew. I only studied Japanese. I finished all my clients. They were booked in already for traditional, of course. But then like 6 months, I turned my bookings into Japanese, and I was like busy again, but just doing Japanese. So yeah, pretty nice. And yeah, I think that's my background.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. So you have that, that interest from the very beginning, early in your childhood. And then that's what somehow you knew you wanted to be involved in that world. And then, as the years passed by, you started with traditional, I guess, like American traditional type of deal. And then you go to Japan, you meet up with Rico, who we actually also had here in the interview series. Great guy, amazing guy. And you're off to the races, and here you are now.
Yeah, man. So Rico and I started, he started my bodysuit 2008. And then I already had like one sleeve by Philip. But 2008, Rico and I became like good friends.
Okay.
So every time he came to London, he stayed in my studio. Like he stayed in Self-Sacrifice for a few years. And then after that, Caesar, Rodrigo, and I, we opened Black Garden Tattoo. And yeah, Rico and Shion used to stay in our shop. Every year they came for the London show. So we became good friends. And then when I started like studying Japanese, Rico gave me like so much help, and Shion too. They taught me so much. So that was like a great thing, especially at the beginning of my Japanese career, So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. And then obviously, well, here you are now, and I'm wondering, obviously, some people will have seen your work, others, this is the first time they might be hearing about you and looking at least obviously they can see the work behind you, which looks pretty darn cool. But what can you tell us about
a bit?
What can you tell us about your colors and your composition style?
Sure. So I try to keep as traditional as possible, the colors, but also I like to be free. Like I respect tradition a lot, but also like I try to experience some stuff as much as possible, not crossing that line of respect. So, but I like to go with the flow at the time, like on tattooing, like I really like to talk to the clients to find out their direction. I think that is the most important.
Yeah.
You know, like I talk to them and they take me to directions I would never take. So I love that, you know, like very freeing, and like their choices is the main thing for me, you know, because they're gonna hold that tattoo forever. And for me, that's it, you know, like I'll tattoo them and they go for it. So it's awesome. And yeah, I try to make fun for everyone, you know. It's not all about me ever, you know. I really like the idea that I tell them all the time is like, it's your tattoo, you know. You have to be happy. It's not about me at all. I don't like the attitude from a few tattooers that know that it's their work, and they forget that it's not. It's the people's tattoos, you know. Like that's the main thing for me. Is like I have to detach myself from it, otherwise I'll suffer for nothing. You know, it's like it's their tattoo and they have to be happy. It's like, so I like to talk about how they feeling, you know, the directions they want to take, you know, at the end of the day. And as composition, I love my tattoos to look like very strong, clean, fluid, and it's about how it suits the body. So that's why I try to do everything freehand, you know. So it flows with the body, the muscles, how suits each individual body. So yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. There's a lot of great things that you said there that I want to comment on, because you know, that's right. Ultimately, it's the people's body, it's the people's tattoo, and you know, it's great to hear that you acknowledge that, and then you make it something that they love, but then by implementing like your skill and your experience, right? And then you make something that everybody loves. They love it, you love it, everyone's happy, right? So that's that's great.
I think that's what makes it fun, you know. Like every person I talk to does my approach, you know. I spend lots of time talking. I love talking. So my consultation is always like video call, and we chat for a while, you know, like, because that person is going to be with me if they agree, of course, like we're going to be together for years. So I want to build this solid bridge at the very beginning. So that's why I never rush. I just talk for sometimes hours without any commitment, you know, like I like that, because it's all about them. I'm just the middleman. I don't like to make myself any special in that situation, because I'm not. I'm just delivering what they're asking me to. And I really enjoy that, you know, like way above a design on the skin. It's like, it's such a ritual. For me, tattooing is like, it's so important in a, you know, like I see people looking themselves in the mirror in the first session, and see them looking in the mirror after like the whole process, and after it's finished, and they become different people, you know. They're not the same one. The same person is left behind, you know, like they change their posture, they look themselves very differently, you know. A lot of people like start losing weight, working out, changing hobbies, you know, knowing new people because of the tattoos, you know. So they change their lives, you know. So I think it's very important to remember that. And yeah, it makes me very sad when I see some professionals like treating people with like, I don't know, like less, you know, like they superior because they artists or somehow. Like I had very bad experience in that sense in the early days of my career. People looking from up, you know, looking down at me, and like, that hurts, you know. So, and I come from a very simple background, so I never liked that attitude. So it's cool to think of that daily, you know, like it's their day. It's not just another day in my office. It's their day. So their day is special, you know. I walk in here, and I always talk to everyone like, this is my dojo, you know. I walk in and I take all the responsibility on my shoulders because it's on me. So I'm not gonna oscillate. I'm not gonna no. That day is for them, and it's so special. So all my problems, like bills, anything is left behind, and that day has to count. So I like that,
That's awesome.
Makes everything like more special in a way.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this are going to love that too, because that's great. That's fantastic. That's so great to hear. Awesome. And before we move on, you also mentioned the freehanding, which is obviously very important, so that the pieces obviously fit the body, right? That's the whole purpose, and that's why they look so great. We're going to be taking a look at some of your tattoos a little bit later, but people looking again at your background, they can see the flow and the of the figures that you craft, that you paint, that you make come to life. So very cool. But moving on and shifting gears super radically here, but do you have like a favorite subject to tattoo?
Man, to be honest, my favorite subjects are animals and flowers, any nature stuff. But if I had to pick one, it is the dragon for sure. I love how powerful and almighty it is, and I like that unity of animals, then I think that represents way more than people think. You know what I mean? Like translating that into our human nature and like cultures, and like I love that, I consider myself, I'm so proud to be Brazilian, I don't want to ever to change that. Like, I'm very proud for where I come from, and like, but I've been away for so long that I consider myself like a world citizen, you know what I mean? Because I met people from literally every part of the world, and I try to always like really like listen to what they say, and like to try to absorb a little bit into me, what they're gone through, their stories and everything, and how it was in your country. I really want to hear, So that changes me slightly one day at a time, and I like that, because my friends back in Brazil, they only met those guys in that area, So I love experiencing, like, I find it brilliant.
It's awesome.
Like other cultures.
Well, that's great. And that's true, because the dragon, like in every culture, in every different culture, the dragon is like this powerful creature always. It's like respected and powerful. So I can understand why it might be your favorite, subject.
Yeah, man. And one thing everyone laughs at me when I say it is that I really believe in dragons. You know what I mean? It's not just the imagery itself. In a way, I truly believe them, because how is it possible every culture has a certain dragon if nothing was connected before? You know what I mean? So I do believe they existed, and they have this almighty power and like accompanying gods and stuff like that. So yeah, I truly believe them.
That's awesome. Yeah, who knows? I've thought about it myself, right? Because there are these things that you see across cultures, and it makes you wonder, is it really fake or whatever, or is there some truth into those things, right?
I think there's some truth, man. They didn't have Google back then, right? So there is some connection there for sure.
Yeah, awesome. What about like a subject or a design that you would really like to tattoo, but for some reason you haven't done it yet?
Not so much a subject, I think, but more I'd say for back pieces. I'd love to do more back pieces. I do quite a few. I do mainly sleeves. I do a lot of sleeves, quite a bit of like legs, but back pieces I'd love to do more, or at least finish the one I started. So it would be great. But I love to do more full suits. It just takes time, and I haven't been doing it for that long, to be honest, so it'll come. I know it will come, but I think more actual parts of the body, like the back, than an actual subject.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, and it's also interesting that, in Japan, and this applies to everybody, not just you, but like in Japan, most people, not everybody, but the idea is that most people start with their backs, right? And then they do sleeves and legs and stuff. But I think in the West, most people start with sleeves, right? I include myself. I started with sleeves, actually. So most people start with sleeves, and, some people leave it at that. Some people extend into it. So I can understand why you want to do more backs, right? So.
For sure. I think in Japanese tattooing, that is the main tattoo, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is the main image of a bodysuit, and then everything around is to frame it and to be compose the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm.
It is the most important. So I'd love to do more. And it's when you see in person, like the person takes their clothes, it's like, wow, it's impressive, right? The amount of ink in your body.
Yeah.
But one thing I agree with the Western side, it's this, I think should be sleeves first and then back. Because pain-wise and mental attitude, I think the sleeves prepare yourself for the back, and the back prepare yourself for the front. I think pain-wise, I have it all, so for me, it would be like that naturally, you know what I mean? Because to start with the back, it would be tough, but it's okay. It's okay. But I think starting with the sleeves is good. Give yourself some good armor in front, and you can look and you can feel like, and then get the full back is cool, But what do I know, man?
What does anybody know? Because even people back in Japan, they, even tattooers of, like really respected, and they started with their sleeves, or they started with like not Japanese, right? So everybody starts however they feel is best, and that's the most important.
I think that is always the best option, right? It's like there's no structure that works for everybody in any subject, so people should just start suffering less and go in the flow more, right? Feel like that, you go, don't have to worry too much or be too structured or anything. It's like as soon as you have fun, that's the right, isn't it?
Cool. All right. So one more question before we go on to going through some of your tattoos. But do you have like a favorite outlaw or scene from the Suikoden?
Man, I don't study much Suikoden. Like I said, I did a bit of images of like people and like gods and stuff, but I always end up finding myself better in animals and nature than images of people or gods and stuff. I love doing them, don't get me wrong. The ones I did and the ones that in the progress is like, I love doing it. Even I have myself like a god in front and an image of a lady in the back. So both figures of people, but me, myself, like I prefer to do animals. So I usually try to study something going towards that direction. But if I had to pick, I would say maybe Ryu and Suimon I think those are my two favorites. Most badass.
Yeah, and then with the Kumori, you get to do dragons too, right? Because, the guy had his 9 dragon, tattoos.
9 dragons, man. That is the almighty, isn't it?
That's those. All right, let's actually start looking at some of your work. I'm gonna share my screen. All right, so what I'll do here is that I'll shut up. Basically, I'll let you talk and say whatever you want to say, and then maybe at the end of the picture of your commentary, I might have some comments, especially comments to add myself. So please go ahead.
Sure. So this is one of my best friends. His name is Amauri. He's a great musician. And man, we were friends for years, and he had like a writing across his shoulders. That's his only tattoo. And then he wanted a back piece. We tried to start and then didn't work. Then we waited ages, which was better, to be honest. And then, yeah, then he booked. We did full back in like a year and 2 months. That was my fastest back piece for sure. It's still with a break in between, so he was coming very often. And yeah, did full back. He's like a strong man too, so very wide back. So it was quite quick, I find. And yeah, then we did the arms with tiger and the snake. And then after that, we did the beads on the neck and the arms. Yeah, but now he wants to go for Munewari.
Oh,
Yeah, man. He's a very committed man and such a brother of mine, you know, like one of my best friends. And that was one of my best friends that tattooing gave me, you know, like we were friends before, but not so close. And like we became quite like brothers and because of tattooing. Yeah, man.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I can see, obviously, I can see he's a big dude, but then it's great to see also this really big ass dragon in the back, really powerful. You know, it's like so in your face. It's great.
Nice. Yeah, I like the proportion. Like he's a big guy, so should have strong tattoos for sure, right?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you know, I actually when I saw this this tattoo, I thought about the classical movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's this classic. It's kind of like a cult classic, really. Called Ipikiryu, the lone dragon. Like, and it's just this guy with this huge dragon tattoo on his back. So when I saw this, I remembered that movie. It's pretty cool.
Cool. Thank you, man.
Awesome. All right. Let's see what else we got in here.
Nice. This guy's called Liam. He's a tattooist from up north here in the UK. Really good tattooist. Does traditional stuff. And yeah, man, like came with the idea of the Kirin, blue Kirin, and drove me crazy because I never done a big Kirin like that. So much fun. And he came very often as well, very committed, very cool. So that is like, so that is one of the ones I sent you the freehand. So just so you can compare, like the outlines of the freehand, and then this is finished and healed. So it's quite cool to see the difference. But I like that a lot.
Yeah, this is awesome. Because similar to the previous one, it's like so big, it's so in your face, it's so impactful. It's great to see. In a back piece, it's perfect, right? The bigger, the better, so to speak. You can see it from a distance. And I also love what you did with the wind there with the background, right? Like those swirls, they're pretty cool.
Thank you, man. I use spirals a lot. I think they give such a nice movement and very give like a very nice scene to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I also love how it matches. If you look at the Kirin's body, right? It's got its own little the spirals, of course, and even the beard, so to speak, also sort of like spirals, right? It's awesome.
It's all about spirals, man. It's all about movement, isn't it?
That's awesome. Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
All
man.
right. Yeah, there's not much to say other than it's awesome, and I love these really big pieces because I mean that's really as classic as you can get with a back piece, right? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like this blue. Is like I use sometimes blue. I like it because it's close to gray, but it's still more colorful. But when you do this sort of like proportions, like it's cool. I like it. Like that darkish blue, like turquoise. Yeah, like it's not too colorful, but it's still much more colorful than gray. he chose it, and yeah, I really like it. The cool
Yeah,
guy.
no, it's awesome. But the contrast, right? It's also, it makes for a great contrast with the black background and the red momiji, right? The red
Yeah,
leaves. This blue is, it's a beautiful blue. It's a great choice.
thank
Obviously the gradation that you did is also awesome. How you kind of like make it darker and lighter and in parts, right? So it looks
yeah,
looks
yeah.
awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you, John.
Awesome. All right.
So this guy won, and we did like a koi dragon on his leg bum back in 2017 when he used to live in England. He's a ex professional rugby player, so very strong man, very big, and he came back just a few months ago, a couple months ago now. He came back from Argentina to get tattooed, so it was like a very different situation. So we had to squeeze in as much as possible, and we did this in 3 days in a row. So yeah, first day was like the freehand and some gray, yeah, and then second day was like the rest of the gray and some yellow, and then the third day was the flowers and the rest of the details on the food dog. So very full days, very intense marathon, for both of us. And like I say, like on the picture, it doesn't look, it's like, wow, 3 full days, but like the guy's shoulders is like, it's so big. So it takes so much longer when the person is that big, It's very different than, say, normal guys. I really like the result. He wants like, eventually, I think he wants background, and he wants the other arm too, I think. And it's cool. Very nice guy.
Well, that's awesome. That's impressive. I mean, you said what, 3 days? 3 days. It's impressive both in the speed, but then also in the commitment from you both. That's a lot of work in
Yeah,
three
man.
days.
Yeah, a lot. Like I said, like a marathon, like very intense. But we did it. It's good.
This
Good.
is awesome. I like how, obviously, well, I don't want to get pedantic, right? But, some people say, you need a background, even though there's Nuki body and there's Kaku body. This could be considered Nuki body. It looks great. It looks fantastic. You don't see it that often, like a sleeve without the background like this in traditional
Yeah.
Japanese, and it looks fantastic. I love the color choices. The eyes of the food dog, I don't know, they have something about them that's really, really cool. It's a really beautiful piece. It's awesome.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and also actually I wanted to call out also the peony. The peony, especially the one on the bottom. I guess it's really a job well done. It's really beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Thank you so much. I usually do at least one in the sleeve. I do like that, liney.
Yeah.
I like the effect a lot, and people seem to love it.
And
So I usually try to do in a special spot, like they show quite a lot and you see quite a lot. And yeah, it's very popular. People love it because it gives a little texture to the petals, right?
really?
But yeah, I like when it's just one in the middle to be an extra special one. But I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, that's cool. And then I also want to call out because it's kind of like a preference between tattooers or horishi, right? But I see that you use the skin, right? I'm talking about the peony at the bottom. Like you didn't like paint it white, right? You just used the skin, and that looks fantastic, right? So
Thank you.
that's a nice detail to call out. Oh, that's
Nice.
great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thanks. The big guy. That's my dad. And yeah, I separate this photo because it's a very special one for me, It's like, yeah, we really enjoy being together. Like, because we chat all the time, we're very close, We know a far situation. We've always been close, him and my mom. But tattooing brings you even closer. It's amazing. So hours and hours there chatting and going through the pain and this process that is really intense, isn't it? So very nice opportunity, like amazing situation to tattoo my dad. I also did my mom's sleeve without background, just cherry blossoms, but full sleeve too. So it's very special tattooing them, you know. It's like priceless, let's say. Very nice. Yeah, we started with like the kanjis there is one of my very first tattoos in London, very beginning. And then we did a writing here. And then when I started doing Japanese, he was living in Brazil. And then I went there and did this lantern around to frame the writing a bit with some clouds and a couple of momiji. And then he always wanted a dragon. Always, always. Before I even did Japanese, like, oh, do me a dragon. I was like, no, I'm not ready. It's too much. I can't. So he waited. And then when I was doing Japanese for a few years, then we started with the right arm. We did, I think, a couple trips. I went to Brazil, and then we did the color without background. And then he moved back here. Then we started doing the other arm. So we did like one session each arm. So now we just finished this one in the picture last week, I think. And then there's one more session to do the right arm. So then we finish both together, you know. So very fun to tattoo. And like that is another story on the direction from the client. It's meant to be one green and one black. And then on the day we were going to do the color on the dragon, he was like, actually, can I have 2 greens? I was like, fuck yeah, of course. It's going to be awesome because it's quite rare people to want the same color, you know, because you already have one color. So it's like, nah, let's do a different one. So you wanted both greens, so even more special. I love it. Very cool.
That was awesome.
And there's the Fudomyo sword on the chest panel here. And that one, I wanted to do something to connect to Fudomyo because I have a Fudomyo here by Rico. And I wanted to do something to connect with my dad there, you know, so it's cool.
Well, it's just awesome. Yeah, it's a story. And well, first the tattoo itself, without, you know, forget about the story, it looks great. But the story, right, it just makes it so much more meaningful and special, right? And
thank you.
It's also awesome how you made it work, right? The lantern, it doesn't look out of place, right? It looks good there with the dragon, and then, like you were saying, your dad's direction of, you know, both green dragon. Also, obviously a great choice. It looks fantastic.
Thank you. No,
this is awesome. This is great.
Yeah, I like how it works. That's one thing I really enjoy is like to make the tattoos people have already into harmony with the new ones, you know. I love that. I do a lot of cover-ups, maybe 90% of what I do is cover-ups. There's always something in the middle or sometimes big stuff in the middle. So I really enjoy cover-ups. It's something that it brings me a lot of joy. People sometimes don't like it, but I take most of the cover-ups I can, you know, like that's another thing I was talking about the special situation we bring with the client and tattooers. Like, I love helping people, you know what I mean? Because a lot of my friends say, no cover-ups, do laser. And I'd say the opposite. Is like, if we can do less laser, let's do it. And then at the end, if needs laser, we can do some little bits. But I like helping people, and like people that don't even wear t-shirts most of the time because they're so embarrassed, you know. And at the end of the project, people are like, man, I'm always shirtless. I don't care now. I'm proud, you know. So, you know, one person at a time. I think if everyone thought of that, would bring much more happiness to the world, because cover-ups is like, it's not easy. course not. It's like doing virgin skin is the easiest. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't want easy. I want pleasure, you know, like I want help. I want to help and I want to, in a way, change people's lives. If I can help, it would be great. So I do some crazy cover-ups. My friends were like, what are you doing? It's like, yeah, but it's gonna work, it's gonna work. And it does, you know, like at the end people are always happy. So it makes me very happy to see.
That's awesome. No, it's great to hear. I'm sure a lot of people who might have already stuff that they don't love that much anymore, they're like looking. I've actually had people ask me like, hey, do you know a good,
Yeah,
artist or tattooer who can also do cover-ups? I'm a little bit ashamed. Some people have said no. Well, now here you have it in this interview. Just go to Tucci and he'll
I
fix
do
you
it.
up.
I do the sometimes no, of course, it's impossible. I
Yeah.
don't. And I'm always very honest, you know, from day one. I bring all the scenarios up to the surface and like, look, this is gonna happen. It's gonna show here, it's gonna show there, but once we finish with the layers, it's gonna look amazing and you know, and people always like the result, you know, with
Yeah.
the rub. So I like that a lot. The
Awesome.
challenge is cool. Keeps
Yeah,
me
exactly.
alive.
The challenge. Yeah, I was about to say that. You love the challenge.
I
Yeah.
like the challenge, man. It's cool.
That's awesome. All right, before we go to the next picture, I wanted to make the comment that it must be awesome when you guys, like you and your dad, let's say you go to the beach or a pool or something and you're like shirtless and people are like looking at you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, the little kids. I like that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
All
cool,
right.
man.
Let's see what else we got in here.
Well, sorry, just before you jump into another one, it's like I tattooed my dad, my mom's sleeve, my wife's stepdad. I did both sleeves. Like two of her brothers, I did sleeve. It's like that I'm going through the whole family, man. I want to color everyone up.
That's hilarious. Hey, you're leaving your mark on everybody.
Yeah, man.
That's fun. That's cool.
Thank you.
All right.
Cool. This guy is Jake, and he's one kind of rare type of client. He came without any tattoos at all, but very passionate guy. Like he studies Japanese tattoos for a while. He knows his game in a way, and like he came with like full homework done, and very happy that he chose me because he wants like a full bodysuit. And to have one like that, like without any tattoos in the way, is like it's crazy different, you know. Like so, very nice. So very fun as well. He wanted dragon and peonies, which I don't do very often, but I really like the result. And yeah, very cool guy. Actually, I'm tattooing his mom this week. Yeah, she always came with him. Like every few sessions, she came by and ended up talking. And then she's gonna have her first one, like a peony here on the chest. So very fun.
Oh, you got a magic that's just bringing people in and getting work done on them. That's hilarious.
Man,
That's good.
one of my favorite things is the chat. You know, so instead of like, what do you want? What do you want? It's like for me, it's the opposite. It's like let's chat. Feel free, take your time. So I really like talking about all the choices could have and like future stuff and like draw on them. So I really like that approach on taking time with each one. So when it comes like either partners or family or anyone together, I always end up talking to them too. So spread the joy.
That's fun. I know this dragon here, yellow belly. That's pretty. I can't remember the last time I saw yellow bellies. That's pretty cool. And then I also like that. Is that orange? That orange peony in there, I think, towards the top. An
Man, it's
orange.
a peach.
That's a peach. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, very unusual too. Like I really like the how it looks. It's a peach. Yeah, I think I did that in the project, and then he really liked it. So, like I was saying about the projects, I prepare one project for every client. I do this project on their picture. So on the day of their tattoo, I show them in the morning, and then it's much easier to visualize it. And from there, it's much easier for them to say, I like this or I don't like that, you know? And then we change colors and change, because I find that like when I used to just show them an outline on the day of their tattoo, and it's like, oh, cool. But it's like, they don't have a clue.
Yeah.
No, neither do us, because it's just an outline. So once I start preparing these projects, like proper preparing, like full on, people will start getting way more excited, because then they have like a target to hit, you know? So I start finishing way more projects too because of that first approach, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So what do you do? Do you like tell them like, hey, send me a picture, or do you just like take a picture on the first day and then you do the design, or?
But yeah, I if I'm with them, I take the picture myself, but I usually ask them to send in a certain position that is going to look cool.
Yeah.
And then I do like, man, I have quite a few folders, like hundreds and hundreds of projects now, because I never stopped doing it, you know, like because I love the result, and like I can see how happy they are in the first approach, and it's much easier for me too to just follow the project, so you don't have to keep breaking your head every session what to do and what not to do, you know. So I like these projects. I think they are essential in my work now. I used to do on the paper, you know, with like pens and uh, pencils and stuff. I
Yeah.
did that for years, so it looked nice, like shiny and stuff. But for the past few years, I've been doing digitally on the iPad, and it looks cool too, but it's just a little different.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to, let's see what's next in here.
Oh, nice. So this is a Maori again, the first one you showed, the dragon back piece. Yeah, so that is the last stage. We did the turtle back, only the back piece, and then we jumped for the arms. So we did like lining one, then line on the other, and then we did one session each arm. So we finished pretty much together. And then we added the beads here and here. So yeah, man. I was chatting to him the other day on FaceTime, and like he had his arm like that, and he's like, looks super cool. Man,
Yeah.
he looks nice. Yeah, I like, and he's another person that like fell in love with Japanese tattooing, and like he's so proud, and like he loves showing. He's super cool. Like he looks awesome with them.
That's
Suits.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
thank
know.
you.
I think I got like just looking at this, a question and a comment. But I'll make the comment first. And I love how fierce this tiger looks. Like you look at the eyes of the tiger, and it wants to eat something, like, you know, kill something, eat something. So fierce.
Yeah,
That's great.
thank you, man. Yeah, it's like he's crossing his arms, so it's not the best angle, maybe because of the perspective.
Yeah.
Uh, I like his tattoos a lot. Suits him beautifully, and like he's a strong guy, so it looks very cool.
That's awesome. And the question I have for you is, I noticed, at least among the tattoos that we've talked about so far, about light. I don't know if light's the right word, but I'm going to use that word, like light colors. Because if you look at the beads, they're like this light shade of colors, right? Is that your decision, or is that the client's decision?
Well, we go through a few ideas, and then they picked for sure. Like yeah, we went through a few ideas, maybe even colored with pen to see what they prefer. But I like the light because
Yeah.
contrasts really well with the black, and
Yeah.
it's a little different than the colors on the sleeve. So I think goes really well.
Yeah, it
Then
does. It does. That's why I noticed it, and I'm like, oh, I'm seeing it like a pattern, across the tattoo, but it looks great, right? So I was curious, it's Tucci sort of sneaking in his, his love for the light colors. So that's cool. That's awesome.
yeah, thank you, man.
Awesome. All right. I think this was the last
Oh yeah,
piece we have in here. Of course, I do encourage everyone to go to Tucci's Instagram page and check everything that he has in there. He has a range of stuff. He even has a lot of merchant stuff in there that you should check out as well. But yeah, that's awesome work actually. But moving along and sort of actually going back to the beginning of our conversation, and your like origins and the tattooing scene as it respects to Japanese tattoos, and we talked about Rico. What have been other like big influences in your like tattooing career and style?
man. So the first memories I have of a tattoo is from a tattoo magazine. Very early days in my life, like I bought a magazine instead of buying a cartoon magazine. I bought this magazine of tattoos, and I found like incredible that it could have designs that I always drew anyway onto skin. And then I came across Mauricio and Philip's work in that first magazine, and that blew my mind, like changed me big time there. And then when I moved to London, I never heard of, like, of course I heard of Japanese tattoos, but where I came from is like a small town in Brazil. It's not even like a big city like São Paulo. It's like São Paulo state, but it's a smaller town. And we didn't have access at all. It was a few people that had some tribal on the street or certain stuff like that, but actual very full Japanese work, and I never seen it. So I saw in the magazine, but wasn't even classic Japanese. And then I started seeing more Ivan Sazi's work when I moved to London, funny enough. Then I start meeting a lot of Brazilian people and a lot of guys and girls that had like proper work done by Ivan, and that blew my mind again. That was another discovery. I was like, how simple and how complicated and complex at the same time they were. And I was just like, oh my God, how powerful his approach was. The amount of black he used, everything was very attractive for me. And then when I met Rico and Shion, that was another big break for me. Like, I fell in love with what they were doing, and then like their work to attract me so much. And as we became like good friends, they showed me like a totally different reality and respect for tattooing in a way that changed me a lot again. You know what I mean? So yeah, and through them, I got to see my favorite tattooist of all times, like Yokosuka Horihide. Then I got to see his work. I never heard of him before, and that was the moment that changed me the most in my tattoo journey. When I saw Horihide's work, I was like, what? Like, this is, for me, like, is the most, for me, at least, is the most impeccable and powerful and elegant work there's ever been in tattooing, Of course, like Horimono and Horiyoshi 2, like, they all have an amazing impact in my life, of course, but Horihide in particular was, and he is forever my biggest idol in tattooing, And on my second visit to Japan, I was lucky enough to meet him. I bought some paintings. I got tattooed by him. So that was like one of my happiest day tattooing journey for sure. That's yeah, man. Still to this day, like I look at his work nonstop, you know, like it's the biggest reference for me for sure. Loved so much.
No, that's great. And it's different when, of course, like you mentioned, Horimono and Horiyoshi II, obviously great, important pillars of traditional Japanese tattooing, but it hits you differently when you get to meet the person and see it with your very own eyes. So I can totally understand why he made such a big impact on you, right?
Yeah, man, so good, so good. Like to be like in his house, looking at the piles of paintings, like piles and piles. And I got tattooed by him, I think 1 year before he passed. So I think he was 87. And man, on the floor getting tattooed by that legend, it was just incredible, you know? So cool, so cool. And I have quite a few paintings by him over the years. And then these last ones I got in person. And he even did some extra ones as a present. It's like, so it was the best experience, you know what I mean? And to see his last tattoos, I have tattoos from him from like 40 years ago or 30 years, 15. And then like the last ones were the most impeccable, like the most accurate. Like he didn't miss any little corners, nothing. It was like just on point, man. And that approach, like, is my goal, you know, like if I get to live to that age and still be painting like every day, that precise and that accurate is like, it's a hero, you know.
No, it's not so
Very fun, very fun.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. What about, you know, obviously we've talked about your inspirations and such, but what about, you know, obviously you continue to learn and you continue to grow, and sometimes some days you're not feeling so hot, right? So you need a little bit of motivation. I'm just curious, what are some of your like resources or sources for like continuous inspiration, whether it's people or things or places? I don't know. Do you have something like that?
Man, my biggest source of inspiration, I would say, is my family. You know, they keep me motivated to become a better person every day. And I think that is the best inspiration someone can have, you know? But apart from them, I would say definitely nature. I love animals and plants, like I said before. And obviously ukiyo-e and Japanese sculptures I look at a lot. And like I said, Horihide is the big boss for me. So I'm always checking everything, like one project at a time. And yeah, man, that's my inspirations, I think, in the day. But I believe in my approach towards tattooing, or as being an artist or anything, you know, I always see there's no much inspiration in a way that I wait for. You know, I think there's just hard work of sitting and enjoying painting and tattooing on the daily basis. So it's more sweating than waiting for an inspiration, you know? I take myself very seriously about that and sit and work. Not much messing around, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I
think. Discipline.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. All right. I think I got two more questions for you. And this next question, I've gotten a feel for it, and it's great answers all throughout the time we've been talking. But maybe if there's anything else you'd like to add on what is your view on the tattooer and client bond?
So, man, I try to give them the best experience I can. I always say that people end up forgetting the actual design of their tattoos, and they always remember the experience of the day.
Yeah.
So for me, in my opinion, that is the most important thing. So I try to give them a chill time while they here and look after them, you know? Some people love to chat, some people love to be quiet, and it's totally up to them. I really don't mind, you know? But I really enjoy to get to know that person in front of me. Some clients became like some of my closest friends, and some clients are here just for the tattoo, and that's it.
Yeah.
But either way, if I'm tattooing, I'm having the best time. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like even though I take tattooing as serious as I can, I love my profession with all my heart. I also love to have a laugh and enjoy that day with the client, you know? I don't like that approach of like, oh, you see it and I tattoo, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I like to have an experience, you know, like be there with them. If they want to chat, we chat. If no, it's fine. Certain areas too painful, so no one wants to chat, and I respect that too. But I want to learn from them, you know? I don't want to be above as, oh, wow, I'm the professional. I don't like that at all. I like to, like, one by one, exchange energy somehow. I learned so much, you know, with them. Like, is an amazing human being in front of me. It's like, I might as well learn with them, you know? Like, so we just both sat here. We have to be here. We can't run away. So we might as well have a nice chat.
And
And I get to have some very deep chats sometimes, you know, with like well-known clients, and like, wow, man, that's amazing. It's like, sometimes I'm like counting the days, like, ooh, that guy's coming again. I love that, you know.
that's awesome. No, that's great. I mean, you know, talking to you and hearing about how you like conduct yourself in your profession, that's so good. That's so refreshing and energizing, right? So that's fantastic to hear and to know. That's great.
Thank you, man.
So last question, what's next for you, man?
So my wife started tattooing last week.
Oh,
Yeah, after being together for 11 years, man. So it's super exciting. I'm really, really looking forward to tattooing next to her in the future, and our collaborations and anything that's going to come in the way. Like, I'm getting really itchy now. So it's super cool. We've been together for all this time, and yeah, like a year and a bit ago, she turned to me and decided she wanted to tattoo. So I was like, fuck yeah, let's go for it. So took really serious. We did like a year and a half of like drawings, techniques, and everything. All my speeches that I love chatting sometimes, but she was she's such a hard worker. So proud of her. Like, she's really strong and way more than deserve it, you know? So it's really cool to have next to me. And also we're going to Brazil at the end of the year. And this time we're planning to stay there for like 6 months or so. So a much longer trip than usual. And yeah, so we're planning to have maybe like a slower pace of life, more rural, you know, and like the idea is to build a house, build a studio, build some places for people to stay when they come to it. And the idea is to give them like maybe have like a house in the mountains in Brazil, you know, close to waterfalls, close to the beach. And the idea is to give them a paradise that we experience in a way, you know? So of course, I don't want to be as busy as I am here because I'm busy already here. So I want to experience a less rushing life and be more time with my family, my son, you know, like I have a son and like I want to see him grow up, like not just rush through it.
And
I think that's the most important thing for me at the moment. And yeah, man. So that is the idea of like having, let's see, it will take years, you know, like this type of plan will take years, but we want to come and go from UK in the meantime. I have so many clients here, we have family here, so we're always gonna keep coming and going from here. But yeah, some very big plans, and Brazil, here we come. Yeah,
that's
man, it's super exciting. Yeah, like I'm 20 years in Europe now, and it's a long time. I'm more time outside Brazil than in Brazil, which is crazy. So I'm really excited. I think now is the time, feeling this call.
and
And we tried a few places and everything didn't work out somehow and directed us to go to Brazil. And yeah, man, so we're pretty excited.
oh, that's awesome. No, that's awesome. So actually, I got a lot of questions for you on this one. But so you're
Sure.
going at the end of the year, you're going to Brazil, and then are you gonna be like just like family? Are you gonna be working there a little bit, or what are you gonna be doing in those 6 months?
So the idea is to start this dream,
Okay.
like, so we'd like to find this land
Hmm.
and to start building maybe some places for people to stay first, to learn, and then a studio, and then the house at the end. And but in the meantime, like if the place doesn't have a house, maybe rent a house close by, and tattoo, of course, but maybe tattoo as little as possible, just so we can focus into this
Hmm.
new, and then come back here, tattoo quite a bit, do a few tattoos in Brazil, of course. I have some people in progress there too, and but paint a lot,
And
build a lot, paint a lot, grow veggies. I try to live on the land as well, you know, like
Mhm.
growing stuff, learning about that one day at a time. And yeah, man. So these are the plans.
Well, that's awesome. That's fantastic. I'm rooting for you. I wish you really a lot of success with that because I think that would be amazing. I've thought about it like myself, like, hey, wouldn't it be awesome and amazing if something like that, existed, whether it's in Brazil or wherever it might be. I'm sure it's going to be an experience, which is exactly what you want to do, right? Like a really
Yeah.
awesome experience for the clients, for yourselves. You're fully immersed in this experience, right? For lack of a better word. So that's really awesome. I'm really wishing you the very best of success with that.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, we're counting on the days now and like planning, but we're gonna do the most when we're there, of course. But that's the thing, like we rush through life, right? Like this busy life. Like I was in central London for 15 years and I came to Guildford because it's more countryside. So we have a little more space, we have a garden, we have like a countryside life in a way, but my speed on tattooing is pretty much the same
you
because
know,
it's not far from London. So all my clients still coming, driving. They even prefer to come here. So I'm still busy doing my thing, which I love. But then we want to experience some other stuff too before it's too late. And
you
life is so quick, and I'm scared about that sometimes. That I want to do some other stuff. Of course, tattooing. Like I said, I hope I'm tattooing until my very last days. Paint as well, but I do want to do so many other things. you know. And being with my son is the most important thing, my wife and my son. So if we can balance everything better somehow, we're gonna give it a try.
That's fantastic. No, that's fantastic. That's awesome. That's great.
Thank
You
you
know,
much.
I feel it on so many ways as somebody who obviously loves, you know, tattoos as well, that also family man. I really appreciate, you know, your love for your son. That's fantastic. That's great to hear. And oh,
Thank you.
that's a great way to end this conversation. So
Thank you so much, man. I'd like to thank you so much for letting me be part of this beautiful project you've been doing. I haven't seen many. I've seen a few. And I was watching a little bit of Rodrigo today.
yeah,
Rodrigo, a good friend of mine. I love that guy and Nana. And I miss them a lot because we haven't seen them in a while because of the London show is not here anymore. But I watched Rico's and I was watching a little bit on other guys too. So I really enjoy it, man. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you so much for doing that for the tattoo community. And yeah, I appreciate it. Also, I'd love to thank my gorgeous wife for everything. She's always like side by side, like a proper warrior. Like she always holding the fort with me like beautifully. Be nothing without her, you know. And my gorgeous son too, like Tiger, he's the best. And yeah, man, my parents always been with me for everything. They always believed me from the beginning. My friends and my clients, everyone's so special. So thank you, everyone for everything. Appreciate it.
awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Tucci Serra, man, the legend, fantastic person. Thank you so much for joining, man, and wishing you the very best of success.
Oh, thank you, John. Very nice to meet you, man. Thank you very much. Hope we have many chats in life still.
Of course.